Hello and welcome to another episode of the Alternative Car Show.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm from DTO, which is Driven to Obsession. We specialise in lightweight sports cars, and this is our Chevron GR8.
So how did you come by the project?
We seen it in an auction, and I kind of liked it, and we took a punt on it really. We ended up with all the moulds and jigs for the car, and that's developed into utilising the car as a marketing tool, and from that we've supplying race cars around Europe at the moment.
And what are the plans going forward with the car?
The plan is to reproduce the car, so obviously we haven't bought the Chevron name, but with all the mould and jigs, I think we can make a few tweaks, and it's a great platform, so we think we can enhance on that and use it as a good basis, move forward, and turn it into something quite special.
And the other side of your business is Northern Agent for MK Sports Cars?
Yeah, so we look after customers for MK Sports Cars. We're all kit cars, to be honest with you. But yeah, people come from far and wide to come see us, drop the cars off, specialise in wiring, assembly, mechanical maintenance, and race setup as well.
And it's not just MKs as well, you've got a Tiger in at the moment?
Yeah, we've got a Tiger, we've got a couple of RX5 builds, we've obviously Chevron, there's a Jetta in at the moment as well, so we're quite diverse. But sticking to the lightweight space frame sports cars.
Specialist car industry.
Yes, absolutely.
Andy Ace Harrison is well known amongst the Mini fraternity, especially amongst the historic rally and race fraternity. Here's a feature on Andy and Ace Historic Motorsport.
So welcome, I'm Andy Ace Harrison. I own Acespeed Historic Motorsport for my sins. We started it, well, it all started probably 40 years ago, but here started in 1995. The mini game had dropped off the mountain a little bit at that point, and then we took a mini in part exchange and the trigger started again. We joined Mighty Mini Race Series through that. We were selling minis all the time. We had up to 50 minis on stock at one time when the mini was back in its height. We were buying them new and selling them. But then Mighty Minis led me to Miglia's, which then led me to the famous 72 Ace, which is over in the other workshop. And we got into historics. And some may say that's when we came on the map for everybody to know us.
So there's several well-known cars that you've got around.
Yeah.
So tell us about Orange Box first of all. What's the story originally and how did you come by it?
Orange Box is quite a famous car without people realising it, because it was a prototype minivan that a chap called Roy Maple from over Lancashire way rallied back in the early 60s quite successfully. But he crashed it and needed to repair the car, so he put the back end of a Mini Cooper on the front end of a minivan. And Orange Box were born. And you've got to remember that's probably one of the earliest cut and shuts that you could possibly think of. Steve Entwistle, who's a well-known historic rally guy from over Lancashire way again, he rallied it for quite a long time and was really successful in it, but he moved on to Paddy Opkirk's car and obviously Orange Box became available. And it took me all of about 30 seconds to agree the deal. And we've done quite well with it. We've just come back from the Isle of Man 2 months ago. It did the event originally, and 60 years later they ran an event for the car and they'd asked me if I'd take it over. And we went over and came 14th overall and won as class.
That's brilliant.
By a country mile, to be fair. We did all right with the car. But everywhere we take it, everybody loves it. It is a bit in your face. And Jaffa McVitie's, who obviously produced the Jaffa cake, seem to like the orange sort of tag, so we get sponsored by Jaffa and we get boxes and boxes of Jaffa cakes.
Oh, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I mean, obviously you do the historic rallies, you also do rally recreations, demonstration events as well.
That seems to be where we've moved ourselves to now, so we do a lot more demonstration, a lot more charity based runs. Well, we get invited to things, so not only do we get invited to places with the grey car and Richard Longman's car, we also get invited with the Land Crab, which is just round there. We get invited with Orange Box. So yes, we get invited to quite a lot of events with us rally and race cars. It's where I seem to have progressed to in my life now, all the years and years of spending fortunes racing. But even so, when you do a demonstration run and you get invited, it's still got prep, it's still got accommodation, fuel, running costs. But I like that sort of event because the pressure backs off a little bit, but you're still on show.
You can enjoy it.
You enjoy it. It doesn't matter whether somebody says it's a demonstration or you're racing your best mate over there who's successful. You drive just as hard in a demonstration event as you would for what you call a race or rally event. So we do a lot of Goodwood. We do a lot of Tim Nash events, which is a Rally Lombard, Rally Grimthorpe Castle, that sort of event. And I enjoy that. But this coming weekend in the grey car we're doing Barben Hill Climb, which is an event I've always wanted to do for the last 40 years, and it just popped up on my social media feed. I thought, right, I'm doing that. So we're getting the old race car out and we're doing it with that.
And tell us about the Land Crab, because that's quite a recent acquisition, is it?
It's an awkward one, that, to say recent, because we've always looked after the car as long as I can remember. So when I was a teenager, my best mate's dad found the car up in Durham and we brought it back and he restored it, and like he did in them. There's restoration 30 years ago with different from restoration is now. And then Graham sold the car and he sold it to Mike Jordan, who I was a friend of, and we used to MOT it, and I ended up doing a lot of work on it, and then unfortunately Mike got terminally ill. So we agreed a favourable deal, so we ended up taking ownership of the car. But this is 5 years ago now, 5-6 years ago, and I've done Goodwood 3 times in it.
Now you've done a lot of charity work with that car as well. Tell us about the charity aspect with that particular car.
Well, that car we took to Goodwood last year because we was fortunate. We came up with an idea of doing the Monaco Historic, and we was going to raise money for Race Against Dementia. And because of COVID, it created a problem that we couldn't go to Monaco because of the borders and the different rules and regulations, and I didn't want to get caught in France for too long, so we pulled the entry. But the car was still trimmed up Race Against Dementia. So I threw an idea at Goodwood and said, look, why don't we run the Land Crab down the rally stage, and I'll raise funds for Race Against Dementia, which is obviously Sir Jackie Stewart. I know he's well thought of at Goodwood, very highly regarded, and they went, you're in luck, it's the chosen charity this year, so get your car ready, you're coming. And between us also, I've got to say the biggest bulk of it was the charity itself, because they ran a stand, but between us all we raised 250,000 quid at Goodwood, and I just kept raising amounts as I rallied, so I continued it into this year, and I think we're around 1,500 quid so far that's gone into the pot. Every time I do an event, we carry the buckets and people put money in. You'd be amazed, you literally buckets at back at car, and there'd be 50 quid in it in different denominations. So we throw it into the Race Against Dementia, and every bit helps, because obviously I'm close to the disease. My family has been ravaged by it over years, so that's why I like the charity.
There's a constant flow of work. And,
too much.
Never too much.
No, we are moored out.
Where do you see your focus going? Are you going to carry on with this as a specialist for the road cars, or is the racing stuff taking over now?
It did. I've got to say, up to COVID, it became a big part of our business, but COVID seemed to change. I've got to say, for other people, it didn't seem to affect them, but us, as a business, we seem to lose the racing side. So I've tailored myself back to just purely me doing the motorsport, and obviously I help people when they ask me to. So we've predominantly gone back to a service MOT stuff, and then just do the minis for a selected few people, because you just can't find a team now that are dedicated. It's very labour intensive as a mini or an old car. I hear it all the time, especially in the motor trade. People go, oh, modern car. They don't realise how labour intensive an old car is. Yeah. So it's hard to say where we're going. It's not that we've got no focus, but I am following what direction I'm taking at the moment.
Andy, thank you very, very much for speaking to us.
A pleasure. I love doing stuff like this.
As most of you will know, I also do videos for TKC magazine, but this time Steve Hole, editor of TKC, has done a video for us.
So Caterham 7, in fact Super 7 600 actually, entry level in the, sorry about the noise, Gatwick Airport just up there, plane coming into Gatwick. Really liking those 14-inch Juno wheels, which are £1,000 option, albeit. Car as it sits there is around about a £5 note under £30,000. It's kind of harking back to their heritage. So you've got the clamshell wings, Little 600cc engine, beautiful Muirhead leather interior. Revisiting the Super 7 name from the past, and that's echoed with the styling, which has got the clamshell wings rather than cycles, and this one is positively opulent. It's got Muirhead leather throughout. The dashboard, you can see there, is £1,000 option. The side panels and the seats add another £1,000. It's a great little thing. I mean, it's not going to be for everybody, because it's not the most powerful by any means. In fact, it's the entry-level model in the range. But even with just 84 bhp, it's still enough to give some excitement out on the road. Although where I'm driving today, potholes are a definite issue, and especially when you're in a kit car, and a 7 like this is pretty iffy. Fit and finish is pretty good. A little bit of ripple in the leather just down there, which is not really to be expected, I don't suppose, but there we are. The Smith gauges are quite nice. I like them. I like the little motor litre steering wheel. There's plenty to like about this car. So the Super 7 600, Suzuki 600cc 3-cylinder engine, delivering 84 bhp in this instance, which isn't a great deal, but in a car like that, it's just brilliant, really. It's still enough to give you a lot of fun. It's also, some might view it maybe a bit too civilised, because with that leather interior, the sound of that little 3-cylinder, which sounds just like half a V6, which is, I guess, effectively what it is, it makes you feel it makes it a very luxurious drive, or luxurious feeling drive. Sure, for a bigger bear like me, you got to squeeze your carcass into that, I tell you, but there's still room in there to do what you need to do. Sure, I should have worn my racing boots today, because the old size 10s with the trainers on are a bit snug. But hey, that aside, there's no real problem. Excuse the noise, I'm right under the runway at Gatwick Airport, basically. Or rather on the flight path. I shouldn't say under the runway, that would be silly. Clamshell wheel wings on this one, it gives it that retro look that Caterham are, or were looking for with this model. And I think once upon a time they looked old hat, I think, and cycle wings are all the rage, obviously, on most other cars of this type. But you know, there's something really retro about those clamshells, and I guess traditional 7 again, which is what they were trying to achieve. I really like those Juno wheels. They're a 14-inch fitment over a 2-pot solid drum on the back, actually, Suzuki base, Suzuki components. 14-inch wheel, body colour centres, but I think they're £1,000 option, so you've got to take these things into account, really. The white interior possibly wouldn't be my choice, but it does contrast well, especially with the piping. Oh, forgive me, it hasn't got piping. With the contrast well with the Bordeaux red exclusive colour to this model bodywork, and the burgundy carpet goes well with it too. I love the motor litre steering wheel on the Smith's gauges. Again, give a 60s feel to it. That interior though, side panels, seats and dashboard, is £1,000 option. £2,000 actually, if together, £1,000 each. So there's £3,000 with the wheels straight away, but as they always say, the choice is yours.
Oh, and before you go, here's a taster of the very special next 2 episodes are a Lancia Stratos special. Don't miss it. Here's a little taste. Thank you for watching. Please click on like and even better subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you want to be really wonderful, go to www.patreon.com/Enwin and you can subscribe there to not only find the videos that we produce before they go onto YouTube, but you will also find some extra footage. More footage the higher the tier goes, as a thank you for supporting the channel.